Okay. Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Engine.
And Rye. Uh, welcome to Kamen Rider Zi-O, episode 28. We open up in the future that Schwartz has kidnapped a bunch of kids to figure out which one of them is capable of becoming the king of time. He sends the Oma genes or whatever they're called on the kids, and most of them run in terror, including Sogo, until Sogo notices that uh, I think Hiryu is about to get crushed by rubble. Sogo somehow conjures the power to knock away the rubble to protect him, and then when the machine attacks, he turns it to dust with his mind. Because yes, Schwartz declares Sogo the winner and tells him that he was born to be king. Uh, Very similar to the dream that Sogo talks about having. It plays out a bit differently than Sogo remembers, which I like because human memory isn't perfect. So having the actual scene play out differently like this is actually really nice. I'm glad that it wasn't one for one. Henshin, any thoughts?
Yeah, this was a really good scene. Also, man, is Schwartz evil by just being like, "Okay, kids, I am sticking you in the middle of the apocalypse. Maybe if you don't die, I'll make you king." Oh, I assume after this whole stunt, all the kids who weren't qualified, if they didn't die, got just mind wiped and dumped back at the accident. But still, wow. Also, very interesting that young Sogo could control time, even before Schwartz gave him whatever power he gave him to become Oma Zi-O. And I did notice the difference between the memory and stuff, so I was like, either Sogo doesn't remember it correctly, which is understandable because of the whole trauma of it, or it's slightly differently than it was supposed to because time travel, but I'm thinking it's probably the former.
I mean, there's a possibility that, like, whenever Schwartz took him back in time, he kind of altered the memory to be more, like, heroic and stuff. But yeah, it's probably human memory. That's leading to it. As for Schwartz being an evil piece of shit, like, yeah, holy shit, is this show like I mean the show's always kind of been pulling like from Ryuki and Decade, but the undercurrent of like Fi's stuff just continues to keep going. Like how much like Fi's elements are in here, like the whole like, oh, get kids from accidents, see if they have weird powers, that sort of thing. Give Tsukiyomi the Fi's watch because the ends justify. Oh my god, man. Okay, did Tsukiyomi seriously get the watch just because of Faiza's opening? Because I'm starting to think it's just because of Faiza's opening. I mean, I know Faiza's opening is a very bad pun called justifies because the ends justify the means, but holy shit, that like foreshadowing when she first got it, I'm like, all right, this is like a cute reference. But then she like becomes a freaking shooter on a bus using the Fies thing. I'm like, oh my god, he had this. Like the lead writer had this planned all along, which is insane. I mean, that probably explains why this damn arc is so good. But yes, Schwartz. Originally, I thought like, okay, at 26, I called it was gonna be Schwartz, but I thought it's gonna be like older Schwartz would come back and realize after like he's fucked with time and stuff that like
Oh,
the Umazio future or whatever or giving Soga the power is still the best option.
Nope, it's young
Um,
Schwartz.
yeah, it's young Schwartz, much worse. So like mine would have been a happier-ish ending, kind of. This is much
Uh,
worse.
Young Schwartz, who's completely stringing the time jackers around, like, yeah, of course I'm trying to prevent Zi-O. Ha 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 ha.
I'm totally not trying to become him. What are you talking about?
I'm also not trying to make him into a puppet king so I can rule the future. Pfft, that's just dumb.
Uh, Now, about the other kids, uh, I'm pretty sure they said that Sogo and Hiryu were the only two survivors of the bus crash, and it looked like they were the only two put back to the day of the incident. So what the hell happened to like the dozen other kids?
Did they just get abandoned in Zi-O and get killed by those robots? I think that's what happened.
Like I think Schwartz killed a bunch of kids.
I mean, I
Fuck
wouldn't
you,
put it past
Schwartz.
him because like it doesn't matter to him. All like he all he cares about is the king, right?
Right.
Um, right, and then he left like two because just in case backup, right? Um, actually, I think what happened is the kids are from different accidents.
No,
So
those
like
all
they
those
got
kids were on the same bus.
oh fuck. Okay, this is probably a problem because I kind of skimmed through 27.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, that's much worse. I
So
thought they were all from different accidents, like
no.
the Fies thing where at the orphanage.
But I think it's something like that though. Cuz why this bus that Sogo happened to be on? I'm wondering if Schwartz wasn't maybe doing this with multiple like groups of children that he could get his hands on, and this is the one that finally produced results.
That is even more horrible. Also, this doesn't answer the question of why Skasa just happened to be standing in for the bus driver, but
Uh
that's important.
well, that is actually easy. Because when he's talking to Tsukuyomi, he straight up tells her he's looking into Sogo's history. Not just
Right,
his
yeah.
past, but like he's looking into the Omazio timeline, trying to get a reading on Sogo, which eventually led him to the day that Sogo decided he would become king, which happened after the bus incident. That's when he started talking about being king. So, hey, what the hell happened on the bus? He's here investigating, and Tsukuyomi happened to be there.
Got it. And as he tells Tsukiyomi, he's trying to decide if this world should be destroyed or not.
Destroyer of
No,
Worlds.
I mean, I think that's the future timeline. Because he's like, well, we know like killer robots show up, but like what happens after that? You know? Um, I think he took Tsukiyami to the future because, Schwartz took the kids to the future. As for yeah, like the bus driver thing, I was just like, okay, it's decade. Whenever he just changes worlds or travels, he like automatically gets the getup he wants anyway. So yeah, I mean, but Rai's explanation is much better.
Yeah, like a lot of in Decade, he got seemingly random outfits that he made use of. I think I'm willing to believe that at this point he is able to control like what role he gets for inserting himself into the world. Like he chose to be the bus driver so he could be on the bus.
Makes sense, and I remember the whole outfit thing because I saw like randomly a few episodes of Decade once.
So, back in the present, Kamen Rider Waz, the Black Waz, tries taking on Gay's Revive again. He's still not quite able to keep up with fighting him, as Gaze proves, but Gaze kind of in because his Gaze Revive is dangerous and harmful to the user. He kind of wore himself out. So Waz is hoping that it'll be enough that he won't take out Sogo. Gaze, however determined, still wanders off to go do that anyways.
Or Gates is like seems rather zonked out this whole episode, and I'm like, whoa, Gates, you have no chill right now. It's understandable, but you're probably going to kill yourself if you keep going this way, especially since you're now bleeding from your eyes. Not that he cares at that point.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just kind of checking the audio. Audio's good.
Okay, good, because I didn't hit record on OBS.
Yeah, I was listening to the stream. It has audio. Um, yeah. So we're talking about what Gates Revive.
Uh, yeah, we're talking about how it's harmful to him, and Waz was trying to like wear him out so he wouldn't go kill Sogo, but Gaze wanders off to do that anyways.
I know that was so. I mean, that's a really good limitation of why we can't just keep spamming this goddamn power. Um, I mean, I really like that. I mean, originally I didn't like the freaking blue wings, whatever form, but then like it makes sense because it's just a chess piece. Um,
Oh, originally I
which
didn't like
again,
the orange plate because it was too bulky, but I realized my
oh, I,
problem was that when it aired, they were doing way too many close-up shots that made it look bulkier than it is. In this episode, we get more range shots of it, and it doesn't look so bad.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the most interesting thing is like it's a combination of like um Kabuto and I mean like Faiza's like chess piece swivels and Kabuto has the more armored form, so it's like an interesting take on it. Plus, his speed form has like the blue form, so that's like Axel, so it's like three speedster riders in one. Um, yeah, that thing actually looks a lot better in motion when like you actually figure out his gimmick. Um, yeah, I also kind of like that it has a drawback where it's like it's killing using it more and more. It's also really awesome that like they're like, no, we made a fucking promise, so I'm gonna do it. Um, and then like Sogo also made the promise, so he has to fight, and they're all busted up, and they get to the final battle. I'm like, oh my god, this is like the best way of fucking doing how to end an arc. It was such a good way of doing it. Like the problem is this episode's so good. It's like okay. The problem is like when this episode's going on, there's three to four factions running around, right? By the end of this episode, there's two. And I was like, ah, shit. I wish we had more time with the factions. But I'm like, this episode's really well done. But I'm like, it's so well done that I fucking wish that this had like 3 to 5 episodes, to explore
Uh,
this whole concept.
uh,
Because just the fight with like when like, okay, we'll get to that fight
we'll
later
get
on.
to that.
But
So
yeah, it's interesting stuff. Um,
so
I don't
here,
know, man.
oh, go on.
It was really well done.
Hiryu is going around like turning random people into another riders. Shows up and gives him a bunch of ride watches as payment for helping out with the gang up on White Waz. And amongst those, I noticed are ones that we haven't even seen yet. Another Blade is in there, another Kiva, another Hibiki.
I didn't see those. I must have not paused.
Uh,
Huh.
Initially, when he was saying them over, I only caught Blade, and I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure if I saw Hibiki or not, but now I'm looking at it again, pause, and it's like, yes, that is Hibiki, and oh hey, that's Kiva.
I'm sure we'll get uh those arcs later. But now they have the another ride watches on hand for later use. How convenient.
Uh,
Yeah.
when
I mean,
gone.
like the problem is, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't check, or maybe they're like, okay, it's in the show. We can start selling this now
Or
because they're not gonna give those. I mean, then again, the Blade one is getting at
maybe they
least
wanted
a
to like
one
tease
episode
them.
thing. Maybe. it's annoying. But then again, like the heroes already have all the other ride watches, right? So it's like there's no point in giving those ones away. But yeah,
Or, or maybe those are ones that specifically has.
oh, that could be interesting. Yeah, because she's only made like what, like two so far?
Aura?
Yeah, that right.
Um, I don't know. I know she did another X-Aid. Uh, I don't know. I don't know who else she directly did herself though. Uh, but hey, this is a good time to talk about the Nether Riders we haven't seen yet, uh, which are uh, Kuga, Agito, technically Ryuki, Blade, Hibiki, Kabuto, Kiva. We technically didn't get a another decade and another drive, even though we already have their watches.
Oh, and then someone saying another quiz in the
Uh,
comments. Does that count, actually?
what about another quiz?
People like we didn't get that another writer, or did we?
We got
In
another
the
quiz.
comments.
It was his father.
Oh yeah, it was his dad.
Yeah, Quiz himself was there to beat him up.
Yeah, I'm just responding to the comments. Or maybe they just were listing all the another writers. My bad. Um, that's cool anyway.
Oh wait, maybe they're saying that Aura did another quiz.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
okay.
That's it. God damn it. Right, because their thing is delayed.
Sorry, you cut out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, they're talking about Aura.
Yeah, okay.
Um, or oh God, like the different subs have different names for characters. Yeah, it's because we're talking and then the YouTube stream's a little behind, and then the comments are responding to the YouTube stream.
Right.
Yes.
That can't avoid
Freaking.
that delay though.
Yeah, I mean you actually can't because YouTube puts a delay on purpose.
Uh,
Um, hooray! Live broadcasting. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. So right, we were listing all the another writers. Was that everything? I mean, like we can talk
yeah.
about if we think
Right.
they're
Well,
gonna
like
show up, because otherwise we're just gonna be gushing about this episode.
so basically, when it comes to the post-decade riders, the only one we haven't seen is another Drive, whose watch we already have. But like with Ghost, that was a watch stolen from Omazio in the future.
Sure, Ryoma Takeuchi would be happy to come back.
He already did. Didn't Ghost already come back?
Ghost.
Ghost already
Oh, you
We're
came
talking
talking
back.
about Drive. Like,
Drive
are
Shinosuke?
we going to
Shinosuke.
get that Drive episode so that Sogo officially gets the watch instead of having one
Look,
that was
look,
like a paradoxal one?
he's busy in Japanese Detective Pikachu, I guess.
Wait, oh yeah, is he like, who's he dubbing for that movie?
Detective Pikachu, like straight up.
Okay.
He
Oh,
is,
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
yeah, Kamen Rider
Who's
Drive is Deadpool playing Pikachu.
also, speaking of dub voices, Masaki Suda is going to be dubbing Shazam in the upcoming movie. I don't know if it's Kid Shazam, Hero Shazam, or both.
Who is that?
Okay.
Philip.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for him.
So
Nice, nice.
imagine him saying like, "Dude, I don't even know how to pee in this thing." So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I seriously still want, like, if they ever put like Japanese Spider-Man, like let it be Shinosuke
Oh, totally.
from Drive.
That
Because
guy.
like I mean he freaking asked like Stan Lee if he could be in like a Marvel thing, and it's like, well, if they ever put anything, like let it give it to him, right?
Yeah, if in Spider-Verse 2 they put in Spider-Man, and I hope they do, having him voice Spider-Man would be great. I would be so happy.
Hey,
I
Zero
mean, like
Drago's
either
calling you out.
okay, either him or the original Spider-Man is
Actually, Mamoru
voicing
Miyano is voicing
him,
like original Peter Parker in
Tim
Spider-Verse.
Goodman, not Pikachu. That's cool.
Yeah.
Fucking news headlines are fucking wrong. Um, I guess I should have read the whole article. I don't know, man. I don't give a shit.
If any of you
I
didn't
don't
quite
care
catch
about
that,
this movie. I'm not gonna see the English one. It's good. He's getting worse. I
Ryoma
actually
Takeuchi is
Probably
voicing
not
focus
Tim
on the
watching.
Goodman,
Japanese
not
Spider-Man.
Pikachu.
I don't give a
Okay.
shit.
Um, so,
No, I seriously don't. Like, I
right,
don't care about that movie. I'm just glad he's getting worse.
right. Uh, so, Drive, while we technically already have his watch, it came from the future. Sogo didn't technically earn it. Uh, Decade, we have not seen another Decade, but we already have his watch. So we're in that situation again of, are we going to get another Decade, or maybe another D end instead?
Um, it's weird. Like, I don't think they're gonna do another decade because Decade's hanging around, right? And he straight up gave Sogo his watch, and that's kind of the unique thing about that. Another D end's an interesting thing because like I could see it, but the problem is it's fucking D end. So like unless we want to go another like that first Super Sentai and like yeah, that's Shinkenger and Decade crossover thing of like DN just gets weird possessed monster form thing again. I'm like, we're probably not gonna do that, especially
Like,
because like DN's thing is like, oh, he steals treasure. Like, wouldn't he be the guy who would fucking jack his own watch
I
before it
was
could be
just
used?
about to say that. Like, what if he's here to steal his own watch? What if he's another D end?
Interesting.
I mean, like,
That'd be
considering the
cool.
levels of like the amount of timey-wimey shit he episode yellow, like I could see him do that.
Like, uh, and then we just have most of the Phase 1 Heisei Riders. We technically don't have a Ryuki watch. We got Ryuga as the kind of tribute episode, though, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, like I don't think they're gonna get like because the problem is like they had Ryuki. They're not gonna get Ryuki's actor again, you know? So
Right.
that's the problem, right? Because besides Decade, we've never seen another like main writer show up again. And like Decade has the excuse because they have like the like dimensional shifting abilities, right?
Like, this would be fine
Um,
if Sogo got the Ryuki watch in that episode, but he didn't. He got his own power up instead.
Well,
yeah, that's,
plus they have the main actor back for that Yuki anniversary special they're doing on online, I think.
nice. I mean, yeah, it's weird because like, wait, no, doesn't he already have it? Didn't he use it against? Oh no, you're right. He didn't use it against Amazio.
Omazio used it against him. Omazio has
Use it
it.
against. Yeah,
Omazio is straight up controlling Drag Rider with it.
yeah, that'd be cool. Um, oh, that's a good point, right? Like,
Right, like, he has to get it, but we already got the tribute episode and he didn't get it.
Maybe it's a sign that the timeline is changing.
Well, we already know that.
I know, but it's another sign.
Like, at
yeah,
this point,
that's a good.
Omazio Future isn't happening. I mean, it's like, it's technically not impossible for it to happen, but with all the changes that are going on, it's not happening.
Yeah, clearly this future leads to Godspeed Love. It's the only explanation. Oh, oh,
Uh,
come on, get my shitty Kabuto joke.
I
Um,
was thinking about that earlier too, because that movie only makes sense if you assume that Kabuto himself doesn't actually remember what the fuck happened in the past.
no, that's because it's the original timeline.
Well, what I'm saying is that, in that movie, Kabuto gives his younger self the belt, but in the main series, Kabuto remembers his fake dad giving it to him. So that movie only makes sense if Kabuto fucking forgot what happened.
Yeah,
Amnesia, solving the problems and plot holes in your plot since forever.
I mean to be fair, like you could just like we never see Tendo's dad, so you could just say he looks very similar to his dad when he's right.
No,
Um,
that worm was like posed as Tendo's dad.
all right. Yeah, all right. They just didn't want to cast it properly. I was just gonna be like, all right, it's the original continuity, and then they went back in time, and it's not a perfect like time loop. It's just a one reality jumped into another, like it's a like future trunk situation where it's like there's their timeline, and then there's Godspeed Love timeline, and then they jump into the like the beginning of normal timeline Kabuto.
Right, and the event
Uh,
I'm talking about is the beginning of
no,
normal
no,
timeline.
I know, but like the reason why I'm saying it doesn't make in the Godspeed Love version a different timeline happen. Oh fuck it, it's not important. It's just a continuity mistake. Like yeah, there's ways to rationalize it. Here's the thing: we can argue, oh, it doesn't make sense, or oh, it makes sense, because the problem is argue whatever the fuck you want. Then the decade happens and it all makes sense. How? Who cares? It just does,
How does
right? Like
Ryuki still a rider when he shouldn't exist? Who cares? Decade.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
That's a good.
How is Flies
I
alive?
want that on a T-shirt. Why is there a plot hole? Who cares? Decade.
It's Decade or Blame Deno. Because for a little bit, every crossover used plotline, and it's been like, oh god damn it, line are doing that. It's like, oh, there's a medal, that's over the world, or oh, this like actually no, it's a lot of fucking O's, um, because there's balls, and then there's all the crap that like Foundation X pulled, and then there's that time that like half a medal gets lost back in time, and like Shocker uses it. Deno, I guess.
Kamen Rider is fucked.
It's so. I know it's so stupid.
Continuity
It's fuck.
wise,
I mean, continuity wise, if I really wanted to, I could piece it together. But like the problem is like every new piece of fiction we get like fucks with the timeline. I mean, thank God we stopped doing the timeline movies. Um, it makes like the timeline much better than it used to be. But yeah, it's still not like even because even the stuff like oh this should happen in the future because it's set up in this show's movie. Like some of the writers forget that, and it's like okay, did the timeline change? Did they just fuck up? Is this event not happening? Is this an alternate reality now, or are we just moving the date forward? Right? Like so many.
New Deno doesn't exist anymore. New Kiva doesn't exist anymore. Um,
Oh God. Because of this
yeah,
or because of no.
because of Zi-O. Honestly, I'm just gonna blame Zi-O that the future riders don't exist anymore. Aqua doesn't exist
This
anymore.
movie, yeah. Well, Aqua mode. Um, because like Aqua is the best time. Um, yeah,
Okay.
like Aqua
You're cutting out
bullshit
super hard.
because like oh, right, happened you know, like literally you could slot like Godspeed Love and Aqua and timeline shenanigans. That's what Drago said. Like the whole thing of like, oh, he's a future writer and bike uses a jet ski, and like he's trained moves and stuff, or future edgy looking for and stuff like. I mean, he might have run into like future writers, some current writers who are still doing their thing. It would have been cool, man.
So,
I know. I mean, like, to be honest, like most of the future writers I can leave, but like Aqua was like it's a bigger race. Anyway,
uh,
yeah.
so
So, original writer,
right.
not to
The
happen movie thing, which seems like it's a movie thing, but there's definitely no way Godai is showing up for that.
right. The
Um,
we got the exceptions out of the way, so the only ride watches that are left are Kuga, Agito, Blade, Hibiki, Kabuto, and Kiva. Uh, we know that Kuga is happening in an upcoming movie, even if the actor isn't coming. Uh,
yeah, I mean, the weirdest thing is like isn't he like a director instead of an actor?
I have no idea what the guy is up to.
I think he is directing something,
Drago's probably
probably.
already fact checking it. Um, uh,
Um, right. Another Agito is also weird because like I'm dressed as Agito, and so I'm
well,
uh,
actually,
like,
screenshots say that we are getting an Agito one episode.
whoa, that's super. Aside from he's ever shown up from Agito,
Uh, all I saw was the suit. I can't say for the
and
actor.
the whole thing is weird.
Uh,
Okay, why?
you're cutting in and out, so it's hard to like try and talk to you.
Uh, sorry, my bad. I'm just saying, like aside from nobody's ever shown up, and like even Hojo isn't the actor shows up, and then they allude to him being like, "Oh, that reference to Hojo's character." It's not actually Hojo. So like, besides his actor, like nobody from ever shown up. Like, do
Yeah,
you
I don't
see?
know if I don't know if I don't know who, if any of the actors are returning. It just looks like we are getting the Agito episode. Uh, we're getting the Blade episode next week. We know that from the next episode preview. So that just leaves Hibiki, Kabuto, and Kiva.
I mean, like Hibiki, we know is not happening. Kabuto, I think is confirmed, right? I mean, not Tendo.
I have no idea.
I feel thing either in the movie or something's going on with.
Uh,
Hibiki is definitely not happening.
his actor like
Like,
is this actor blacklisted or
oh, Kabuto's one?
no?
Or there is only one,
Hibiki's
right?
like
No, it's because what happened is like this basically like everybody in Hibiki had like a massive fight with
Hibiki's actor returned
with
for decade.
yeah. Did he? I mean,
Yes, uh,
I think at this point like Toei just tries to pretend that Hibiki doesn't exist.
like three or four of the Hibiki actors returned for decade.
I mean, like like one of the Hibiki actors was in Wizard for sure. But the problem is like the actors are not blacklisted. Like it's not a Kabuto situation or like like Deno or Kuga thing where they're super busy and like too famous to come back. I think it's more just like Toei just does not give enough of a fuck to call these guys back. I think that's what's happening. Because like I know the writing staff definitely does not want anything to do with Toei anymore. But like I don't think the actors hate them as much. Like they did at the time, but I think
So,
now if they ask them, they would come back. It's just Toei doesn't even ask. I'm starting to think that's what's happening. Because like Hibiki has so many characters. Like you could literally ask basically anyone. Like hell, you could ask like the one-shot Hibiki writers that just show up for one episode, and then never again. Like you could
oh,
ask
you
those
could
guys if
get
you wanted.
Zero Nose back because he was a writer in Hibiki as well.
Was he? Oh my
He
god, that's
was the
awesome.
kid at the very end of the series.
Oh, yes, that does make sense. Freaking, oh, are we just gonna have the like two Xeranos teams, four Eternals, three Otoyas henching at the same time? Um,
Oh,
oh my god, could you imagine? Oh no, no,
oh,
no! Plus the two Rays, from Kiva.
oh.
Oh, Taiga, I mean, yeah.
I am
So like,
behind and I'm very
okay,
confused.
okay,
I know
so
there are at
like,
least two Ki Otoyas.
yeah, so
I don't know where the other two came from.
okay, so like, Otoya has Ixa. In the Decade episode, he's Dark Kiva. In Build, he's
He,
Grease. So
he
he
was
has
Yes.
he
three.
was Dark Kiva in Kiva as well,
Oh yeah, I
and
mean,
he
but like in the Decade episode, he's straight up just Dark Kiva.
right.
Like he's the king. And then from Kiva also, like Kiva's third writer
He was
has two different. No, he has three different writer
right.
forms.
He's
Like he
Dark
has three
Kiva.
different
He
writers.
was Ixa at one point, and he's New Kiva.
Oh
Okay
shit, you're talking
then.
about
He's
Otoya.
New
Oh yeah.
Kiva,
Oh,
I can
so
only
four.
imagine like
Otoya has four.
there's
like
four of his
cause the
wives.
same actor plays Kiva's son from the future, so he's New Kiva.
Yeah, he's
So now we
Ixa,
suddenly have
New
sorry.
Kiva, Dark Kiva,
And over in Build, he's
Grease.
Grease.
Yeah, Grease. Freaking hell, man. Otoya has four. Oh, and then like Taiga in Kiva is um is Saga, Dark Kiva, and then what else is
I
he?
think it was only those
And then
two.
he's Ray. Ray in the movie.
Oh,
Um, so that's seven just from Kiva alone, right? Then you have like Xeranos and the Hibiki one, so that's nine. Um, Freaking Eternals actor has played or voice acted like let's see, there's Eternal Kamen Rider 4. He did like at least one or two more. Hey, Drago.
Hey
So
Drago.
let's
Hello.
count. Let's count it as three for now, even though I feel like he's done
hold on,
four.
I'm gonna look up the actor. Keep going.
Yeah, one, two, three.
Okay, I was just gonna say, right?
11 right now. Yeah, go ahead.
This one you could just ask Kenji Masuda, who plays Jiro or the Doga in Kiba, and Sanki in Hibiki.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. It's like, right, like literally almost all the actors in Kiva have shown up in so much shit. It's ridiculous. Um, right. So there's another like three. Fuck, Kiva,
Okay.
literally there's 10 writer suits
Uh,
for just Kiva actors.
he was Eternal. He voiced Yango in
Yep.
he was Katsumi in Amazon,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
but he was
so
not a rider in that show.
well, okay. So just two, feel like this, but whatever. Uh, so 12 plus the two, so that's 14 repeats. Um, geez, we have so many writers, it's ridiculous. So like 14 different suits for like four, one, two, three, four actors. Yeah, this is madness.
And I
Um,
think okay, I was just gonna say the actor for Todoroki was also in Wizard, if you have counted that.
yeah, yeah, there we go. So that's two more. Uh, so like fucking hell, 16. 16 suits for five actors. Um, God, we can actually probably go higher. Um,
Considering there's
Wait,
so many.
Todoroki
Okay,
also
okay.
played a character in the first Den-O movie, I'm Born.
Oh right, I
did he
remember.
have
Okay.
did he have a suit?
Uh,
Uh, no.
No. Okay, we're just counting the suits. Um, goddamn, so many. Like, fuck. If we like inside the show is ridiculous too because Chase has like what, like three, four suits onto himself in Drive.
Wait.
Yeah, one, two, three. Yeah, he has three suits onto himself in Drive in one show, like three different rider systems. Um, so that's 19 suits with six riders. Fucking hell, this show. Uh
But okay,
oh
okay,
no,
okay, 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 okay.
Shotaro has two suits onto himself. So that's 21 with seven.
Okay, so
Jesus.
that character that Todoroki played in Den-O, Sarutobi
Yeah.
Sasuke, is like a historical figure. Uh,
Okay.
and that historical figure, uh, there was a uh, design contest to make him an icon in Ghost.
Nice. Um,
Interesting.
that
I
is
don't know who
interesting.
this guy is, but having him as an icon would have been cool, I guess.
okay. You know in Kamen Rider Ryuki, yeah, Miyuki
Yeah.
Tezuka.
Yeah.
Yes, his actor is basically son Hayato Ichimonji, Kamen Rider 2 in the reboot of
Oh
Kamen
yeah,
Rider.
yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true.
I, I
And
was also gonna say the guy who played Drake was in
Drake was
who
V3.
V3, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So four more for two more. So that's nine for 25. Jeez, 25 cents.
Okay, let's just
No,
stop
no,
now.
no,
I think
no,
you guys need to
no,
continue
no,
with
no.
Zi-O.
Ichigo Rider 1 was Kickhopper and Zabi.
No, I don't think so. That's not
Oh
the same
no?
actor.
Oh God.
Just a resemblance. My bad. Okay.
But
Yeah, I always mistake
that
those
makes
guys.
a good point that in Kabuto, every character that was the bee, almost all of them have a different rider form.
Fuck. So that's
Um,
okay. One,
three.
two, three.
Three characters became
No,
the bee that ended up getting their own unique rider form.
I mean, okay. So there's like Kickhopper, Punch,
Punch
Kabuto.
Harbor
And attack.
and Gattack.
Okay, so four. So that's like what? Four suit? No, eight suits. Plus four more. What the hell were we up to?
Too
Nine?
many.
Yeah,
Okay, you know
13
what?
plus nine.
There are too
Give me
many.
Yeah.
34.
So
34
the
suits,
point
13
that we've been
riders.
trying to make for the past too many minutes is that there's a lot of riders that are also other riders.
Yeah, it's freaking great.
Um,
Anyway, so we were like, yeah, Agito kind of confirmed, Kabuto kind of confirmed, Kuga's not happening, but it's gonna be in the
Uh,
movie. Kiva's weird. Why is Kiva not happening? Like, there's so many from Kiva.
uh,
Like, if
I
freaking
think they're
Rito from Wizard came back,
okay. I was just gonna say I think they're gonna come back later on in this season because there's still a lot of episodes left. And Deno already had the recent movie which came out in Japan where Deno was there. So Deno and Kuga is not happening. Double,
we're
everybody is too busy to even come back.
we're just looking at mostly at another writers we haven't seen. We're not really the actors returning, so we saw another Dino and we saw another Double.
Oh yeah, right. And another
Zero is mostly
Kuga as well.
focusing on the actors returning.
Okay. Another Kuga as well is in the movie,
Yeah,
so that
another
is
Kuga is
also
happening.
checked.
Another Blade is happening next week. It looks like another Agito is happening. So that leaves Hibiki, Kabuto, Kiva. Uh,
I
for
feel like Kabuto is happening, but Hibiki sucks, man. They're like back to back. Hibiki and, well, I mean, actually, they're not back to back, but they're like style wise, they're interesting. Um, Hibiki, it's weird because like, what is the message Hibiki could put into the show? It's like what, work hard,
yes,
you know? Which, but I know, but the problem is like that would have
well,
been great in this arc, right? Or something. But I'm like, I already feel like they've moved past that message, unless
like
like they run
like
into an opponent who's just like Kronos or something, where it's like, okay, you have to really just fight.
like last month, Sogo cheated on his final exam by
I
looking
mean,
into the at the answers in the future.
to be fair, if you had time powers, I'm pretty sure we would all cheat. Um,
I'm not saying it's not realistic. I'm just saying Hibiki could teach him a lesson.
um,
Okay, but I was also gonna say that what do you call it? A drive hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, where we technically don't have another drive in another decade, even though we already have their watches.
Oh right, I think they could just pull off another ghost where like one of the drive actors come back, the older ride watch get destroyed, and they get a new one.
yeah.
Uh, so that could
Future
happen.
Drive, clearly. No. Um, actually, like the Kiva thing is super interesting because like Kiva's all about like legacy and monarchy and like dumbass rules that like the new generation
Actually,
can be
that's a good
like,
point.
fuck
Kiva
that.
literally rebelled against his own king.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thing of like you don't have to be your defined by your past. You don't have to be defined by your like destiny or any of that shit. So like Kiva would be
So
really
they
good
they
if
could
it
do some
happens
stuff with
later on.
Kiva.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, like literally anybody from Kiva would make a good thing because like, okay, if you get like Watru, then it's like, yeah, man, you don't have to live up to a legacy. You don't have to follow, your destiny, any of that shit. You can do your own thing, kind of thing. And then like if like Taiga comes back, he's like, yeah, man, I was destined to be this like king person, but I decided to change for the better. Like if Nago comes back, it's like. I mean, you can have it with Gates and whatever. It's like, what the hell is justice, right? Like, is that just following the law? Like, the ends justify the means? Like, no. Like, being a hero is what's important. So, like, all the lessons, like, literally anybody in Kiva learned would be great if any of them fucking show. Like, fuck, even if we get the monsters from Kiva, they'd be great.
alright. So, we've derailed a bit harder than expected. So we should get back to Zi-O. Because we're not even halfway through the episode. So once Ur's alone, White Waz shows up and starts kicking the shit out of him, demanding to know what the fuck all that was about, with stealing his watch and such. Kind of like turns the questions on him, like, "What the hell are you and Schwartz doing? We're trying to prevent Omazio future. Why does another Zi-O even exist? Why are you pushing Zi-O and Gaze to fight so earlier than you said that it should happen?" And then Waz just kind of ignores his questions and walks away. Because, he's an asshole.
White Waz is probably like, I should try to just jumpstart Oma Day just to make sure that my savior wins. So, like, there's no chance that he might lose, so I can fulfill whatever my weird goal is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's basically White Waz's thing, is like he wants a guarantee that the future he wants will play out. Especially because like
Well,
in this episode he says weird stuff like, "Oh well, you are the savior, but like salvation comes from the like a select few or something." So he's basically pulling the
here,
same card that Schwartz is.
here's the thing though. If he wanted his future to happen, he wouldn't do anything because it's going to happen. It had for him. So if he's really from the Gaze Revive timeline, like he says, then that timeline had to be created without him existing. So him coming back in time shouldn't matter. The Revive timeline will happen without him interfering. So this whole time I've been thinking like, oh, he's just here interfering so he can say he helped and participated. But after this episode, I no longer believe that to be true. He clearly has his own agenda and he's trying to create his own timeline, like Schwartz is.
Most certainly, we just don't know exactly what that timeline will be yet. Guess is that, like, he wants to be in charge even if Gates wins. Schwartz might be using Sogo to control him so Sogo can be a puppet king if Sogo wins.
So, on Sogo's way to go meet Gaze for their battle, Hiryu shows up with an army of another riders. Sogo is like, I don't have time for this shit, and henshins. We get a short fight sequence that is mostly glossed over. As we cut to Gaze and Sogo meeting up, both of them like out of breath and really need a break. And both just kind of surprised that like you showed up looking like that. But yeah, they both made the promise and they both wanted to keep it. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this fight and then the next fight, um, I don't know. Like, it's because like build was right before this, and one of the few things build does is like, yeah, it was a little dragged out, but I kind of wish this had like build structure where it's like, okay, no, like to get to their like promised meeting or whatever would have taken like a couple episodes, because like how did like okay Sogo versus like I mean Zio versus another Zio versus like Zio 2 versus another Zio and like his little army should have been like an epic fight like lasting an episode, and then the next fight with them teaming up and doing that again should have been an episode. Yeah, I guess I get why they glossed over it because like they're just gonna redo the same thing, but like realistically, like if you wanted to, you could extend this. And like really dig in, and it's like, oh, it's this hard struggle that they fought to just to get, to that promised meeting thing. Um, but like it's like 28 episodes in. They don't really have the time to extend and get more episodes, but I wish they like this episode's so good. I wish it was like a mini arc in itself. Um, like I wish like here's the thing. This like whole Gates revive thing is like what like 5 episodes or so, right? This mini arc so good. I wish it was kind of like the war arc from Build, where it's like 10 episodes or something like that. That would have been good. I mean, I don't know if it like there was enough plot for that, but like I feel like there might have been. But I don't know. Maybe it would have felt too dragged out. What do you think?
Maybe. Uh, so when they meet up, Sogo refers to Gaze as his friend, and Gaze calls him out and like, "You think we're friends? I'm trying to kill you." But Sogo goes, "Yeah, like you and Tsukuyomi, you're my friends." Um, Hiryu once again shows up to try and kill Sogo. Like, hey, I'm going to be the one to defeat Omazio. And Gaze gets in the way, saying, "How dare you accuse my friend of being the Demon King?" It's actually like a really touching moment. And like Zero was saying, like, this is a fantastic episode, and this build up is perfect. And we get an actual like dual henshin between them as they fight together for once.
This was such a good fight and such a good scene. And oh, like I watched Sogo's face when Gates said he was his friend, and that reaction. I'm like, oh my god, this is hits me
But
right in
both
the
of them are like
feels.
bleeding from their wounds.
Yes. Oh my god, it was like so good. Plus that scene as they go past each other to fight on the other side, and I'm like, yes, you. I know that it wouldn't have been possible, but you technically should have been doing this all along. Plus, it's really like this episode all on Sogo's side. I'm like, yes, maybe we can prevent Omazeo from happening by having a possible timeline where Gates and Tsukiyomi treating Sogo like shit causes him to become Omazeo. Now we can possibly avoid that. Good. I am very happy.
Like they are actually working together in the fight when they realize like that they're against matchups the other person has the watches for. They're looking out for each other. Uh, Sogo uses his time vision to see what Hiryu is going, kind of finisher is going to do to warn Gaze, like, hey, jump up. And so Gaze, like, throws on his revive armor to, like, go and intercept the attack that could have wiped them.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well coordinated. And like a really good showcase of like, yeah, these guys working together can accomplish like crazy things. Again, really well done. It's just the one thing like when basically you have like Sogo and Gates and then like another Zio shows up. I'm like, oh my god. Normally I fucking hate Rider versus Rider, but like at this moment I kind of wish this was a Rider versus Rider show because like these three characters deserve their own plot.
I mean, it
Because I'm like,
technically
oh
is a
man,
Rider versus Rider show.
I know, but like the way it's written, it's like okay, this is Sogo's thing and like Gates's thing, and like who cares about what another Zio does? But like I wish he had because at that point we had like 3 or 4 sides, different sides going on. I'm like, oh man, I want to see like a fully like it's such an interesting concept, right? Like, hey, you guy who's gonna be the Demon King, what do you do? Oh, okay, I want to be a hero now. Hey, dude, sent here from the future to kill this guy. Okay, well, I want to be his friend now. Hey, dude, this asshole exists and your parents are dead. Um, are you gonna murder him or go past that? Like, such interesting motivations. But this episode was really well done. It's just, I don't know. I just kind of wanted more. And that's one of those things I haven't felt in a long time in Rider, where it's like it's so good you want to see more of this going on. And it's like, I mean, as good as Build was, I don't really know if I ever felt like this in Build. Um, but this last couple episodes of Zi-O have been like fucking like A class writer shit. Especially when they go and like it's a little snowed in and that feeling like, oh shit, we're like throwing back to like the showdown to Kuga, and then they team up, and I'm like, okay, so we're like throwing to like Blade now and things like that, and like so well done.
So, after defeating Hiryu, Sogo approaches him uh, and acknowledges that Hiryu blames Sogo for the bus crash and the death of his parents, and understands that and Sogo admits there's nothing I can do about what happened, but together we can overcome the incident. He basically offers Hiryu forgiveness and friendship. Uh, the another Zi-O watch not far away breaks momentarily before reforming. We don't see where Hiryu goes from there, as we cut to Sogo and Gaze getting back into what they were doing before he interrupted. But the way Sogo handles that situation is really strong.
It was really interesting seeing that ride watch unbreak. I'm like, well, clearly this means we get another Zi-O in the future, but I'm wondering why it did that. Here you basically breaking down. That was a really touching scene. So I know Hiryu is supposed to kind of be a secondary villain, but I hope that he becomes heroic in the future because I feel bad for him, even though what he did wasn't justified at all.
I, I feel like the watch breaking in the first place was symbolic of Hiryu starting to let go. And that it reforming was Hiryu, like, his internal ambition of, like, I can't.
Okay, so like the watch breaking like also maybe depends on the will of the person who got the power. Interesting.
That's what I'm thinking. It might have symbolically represented.
Um, yeah, it would have been a bad wizard joke here, but forget it. So
That I will be your
the
final
way,
hope.
well, no, 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 no. I'm like, well, I mean, no, I was gonna just make like the oh you can be a wizard now thing, but
Oh.
I'm like oh he's got a gate because Gates is right there. Um, uh, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Anyway, yeah, the way Sogo handled that was really, really well done. Um, fucking like A class writer material there, man. So nicely handled. The only problem while watching that I had is like I'm like you fuckers have time machines. Like you have two of them, right? Like if anybody could go back in time and change this shit, it would be you people,
That would be a
right?
drastic change to history, though. There are rules to this
I
shit, man.
know.
Can't mess with fixed points in time without unintended
Like,
consequences, most of which you probably don't want.
like they're trying to push history away from the Omazio timeline, and hey, maybe preventing that bus crash would literally do exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, do they ever explain where that fireball came from the bus?
No, just
Like it goes in
Schwartz.
the tunnel.
Schwartz blew up the bus.
Yeah, I was like, no. So the bus, and he sees you come back in time, he just blasts you, and it's like, no, back off, you assholes. Not fucking with time.
That would be great though for like a later point when Tsukuyomi tells them like, so here's what happened, and they're like, oh well, why don't we just go back in time, stop Schwartz from doing that, and then you actually like, get this fight between them in the past where they fail.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, technically, because the thing is, like, we've never seen like. Here's the thing. Normally, we have villains of Rider who have like monster forms, but like the Time Jackers don't, and they don't even have Rider gear. So it's like, I get it. They make monsters, but this is a Rider show. Eventually, one of you fuckers has to get an actual fighting form. Any of them, I'm thinking it would be Schwartz.
Yeah, Schwartz is gonna have
So
a
yeah, if
monster
they
form by the end of this.
yeah, so like if they try to go back and try that, I'm thinking that's when Schwartz's monster form.
Schwartz is another Omazio confirmed.
That'd be cool.
That would actually be pretty cool for a final villain.
Yes.
Instead of Omazio himself, another Omazio.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. Honestly. Um, yeah, it would be. Everybody kind of has like a team of two or three, right? And like this is another. Like the Time Jackers are just another Omazio. That'd be awesome.
Um, Sogo and Gaze get ready for their fight. But before they begin, Sogo has one request. He wants Gaze and Tsukuyomi to move back in with him and his uncle. It it became livelier when they did, and he's become lonely without them. And he is taking the advice that his uncle gave him, and it is great. He actually learned something. Uh, Suku, Gaze is starting to mourn Tsukuyomi as he realizes, like, I might be able to move back in because he still thinks that Tsukuyomi is dead. When Decade kind of just drops Tsukuyomi off in between them, who rushes in to, like, stop them from fighting. And the two of them just can't help but laugh and hug Tsukuyomi. This episode is really fucking good, actually.
The whole scene, like, yay, Sogo learning to articulate his feelings. It's so good. Also, like, Tsukuyomi is panicked because she's like, oh no, are they gonna fight in advance of Oma Day? And the two are like, yay, this is, we don't have to fight. We can be friends. This is so funny. Plus, when is the last time you ever saw Gate smile? This might be the first time it's ever happened, and it's so sweet.
Like, I forgot that Gaze thought Tsukuyomi was dead, but this scene reminded me of that just from his actions and emotions.
Yeah. Also, like, now back with Sogo, I doubt after seeing what happened with him in the past, she is as convinced that he needs to be killed because it's most likely he'll be the Demon King. So it's great that they're all back at the clock shop with Waz, although we'll talk about that.
Spoilers.
Dude, it's in the same episode.
Yeah, I
know. Yeah, it was actually really nice. Like, fuck. It's like the whole show kind of just built up to that moment where it's, yeah, this is dumb. And the main writer and the secondary should have. Like, it's so nice to see, like, a group together. Like, I don't know, it's actually been a while. Like, that we've seen, hey, just be friends, you ask. just be friends, and like they get together and like everybody actually wins for once. I was like, wow. Um, that was so nice.
Uh,
It's
oh, gone.
like the weird thing is like, no, actually, you know what? Fuck it. There is no weird thing. It's fucking perfect. Like I was gonna say like Gates. We used to do the whole like, oh, it's mini Ren thing, but like lately I haven't kind of been doing that. I mean, kind of, but like hopefully now like they can just move away from the like Ryuki shit and be like their own characters. Like we don't have to do the frenemies dynamic anymore. They're just friends. I like this a lot more than just the like Ryuki light thing we had going on.
So, back at the clock shop, so Waz walks down the stairs. Uh, and he figures
Wait, wait,
Gaze and Waz can probably share a room. What?
wait. Stream is.
Oh,
Well, it's not stopped. It's just spinning on my thing.
I think we're still going.
Are we? Uh, yeah, like it's like the video preview spinning on the YouTube backend.
Yeah, it's just buffering.
Okay, no, yeah, it's going.
Yeah. Uh, much to everyone's shock, including Sogo's, he didn't even know that Waz was moving in. Uh, so Uncle goes into the other room to get started on dinner, which makes Sogo excited. Uh,
Yeah, I
so
mean, like honestly, when I mean, it's great seeing how happy Soga's uncle is because like Soga's uncle is like basically the next character in the show. Um, but when he said, "Oh, we have a fourth guy," I was like, "Oh, cool! Another Zi-O is here." And then we could have like all
oh,
the friends. I mean, like the enemies are kind of friends and stuff, and we're gonna end up in this weird like O's situation.
you were expecting Hiryu to walk down those stairs?
Yeah, I was expecting Kiryu. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like because we had this whole thing of like, yeah, you gotta let go of your past, and like Gates and Tsukiyomi is just like, the future isn't set in stone yet. Like we can make our own future working together. And then I'm like, oh, it's great because like his watch broke and it reformed, so now he can be a hero and stuff. And then fucking Black Waz walks down. I'm like, oh, god damn it. More shenanigans.
Honestly, I don't think Kiryu's quite at that point yet, so
He's
we'll have
not.
to see.
Hiryu hasn't fully redeemed. I like the way I interpret the watch is that Hiryu has rejected Sogo's offer for redemption. He's gonna need to have his teeth kicked in a little bit more. So, Gaze finally answers a question Tsukuyomi once asked him a few months ago. Do you really think Sogo is capable of becoming the Demon King? Uh, and Gaze thinks that the answer is no, because the two of them are not going to let him become the Demon King. No matter what Black Waz tries to do, they will stop him. Uh, Tensions seem to be getting a bit high, so Sogo prompts Waz to apologize. So Waz does. Gaze doesn't think it was very full-hearted and starts wrestling him. And I love it.
Waz is basically like, sorry. And Gaze is like, that's not an apology. Hilarious. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see Gates and Waz's antics in the house in the next few episodes.
Yeah, I think like realistically, like Black Waz is the only thing that could cause that like Zi-O to maybe relapse into being like the last thing we have to do is like on the people who are on the supporting team is like just to convert Black Watch to this like new Amazio future or like Zio future timeline. So like it makes sense why he's there, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he bounces off Gates. But yeah, that whole like ending bit was so nice, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys, they're pretty much like turning into Kiva here with like how wholesome this is, or I guess like Host to be honest, because like Host made like friends of his enemies.
I was also thinking a little bit like Ryuki, where like Shinji and his boss were always going at it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but the thing is, like Shinji's boss is like Shinji's like they went to the same high school and or not high school, college, or whatever. The point is like they went to school together, so they've known each other. And that's the whole reason Shinji got a job there. Um,
Oh, that's how
yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't fired sooner than he should have been.
yeah, pretty much. It's just
Hooray
because he
for
knows.
nepotism!
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to be fair, like Shinji actually got really good at doing his job later on.
Except for that one time where he forgot to do any of his jobs for like a week and almost did get fired.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, like there was a lot of fucking
Yeah, there he
monster
got.
stuff,
It's only because he got so wrapped up in all the Rider shit going on. Like I can't blame him.
right? I mean, like I think that's why we fucking love Ryuki is because Ryuki is like Spider-Man, the Kamen Rider show, right? Where it's like real life shit and the like more fantastical stuff happening at the same time.
And one affects the other.
Oh man, like Ryuki is so batshit insane. Um, okay, that's not true. It's almost as insane. Like because like you know how Kabuto has like super over the top episodes every once in a while. Like oh that's so over the top. Remember that like Yui and all these guys like trashed the fuck out of a guy's like that happened,
The date
right?
episode.
Yeah, that one. And then
Cause,
the other one where they're all pretending to be salesmen, right? Like all
oh
this shit
god.
happened. It's so over the top,
That
kind of.
time where Zolda fucking breaks his arm and so Shinji becomes
Oh
his
god.
replacement butler for the day.
Oh my god. I know. Oh, and then like the other two girls from the office show up and they're pretending to be bodyguards. Oh my fuck. Ryuki is so ridiculous and
I'm gonna go rewatch Ryuki at some point.
I need to watch Ryuki.
You
Period.
really do. Ryuki is so good.
Eh,
Like, the
yeah, I
Ryuki
do.
Fai's Blade era is like the trinity of Rider series.
Nice.
Oh,
They'll gotta try to watch Deno first.
alright. So, we end this episode with White Waz and Schwartz having a conversation where White Waz says, alright, fine, my plan failed, I give up, I'll just go with your plan from now on. And Schwartz just says, yeah, I know, let's get on with it already. And then the end shows up as a teaser. The end.
This was a really, really, really good episode, and I loved every bit of it. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to works, but I hope that the episodes stay good and don't go downhill from here because if we keep up this level of quality, this will be a really good Rider season, despite how slow and kind of bad it started as.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, it didn't start off at bad. It was just fucking mediocre as all hell. Um so like there was a couple good episodes, but like most of them were super mediocre. But this episode's fucking solid. This whole arc was goddamn solid. Like, holy shit. if this show keeps this quality, it's amazing. Especially because it's this writer. It's like this is what I was expecting from you to begin with after Go Rider. And like, yeah, as Zio is doing its own like plot lines now, primarily, it's gotten so good. Um, as for D, when he shows up and it's just white suit, I'm like, wait, what? We're doing a crossover with Garo for a second? Because I'm like, oh shit. And then it cuts higher and it's like, oh gun. I'm like, oh, so you're like the third writer from this show. And then I'm like, hey, wait, I've seen that fucking thing. And then it's the end. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. But it's not the original the end gun, so it's powered up just
Right, like
so
Decade
that's cool.
got his new driver, D-End has a new gun.
Yeah, I mean, they're just gonna repaint it and sell it. But hey, that's cool. Like to be fair, like DN's like gun henshin thing is like one of the better like henshin devices that isn't just a belt that Toei's come up with. So I'm all for that. Plus, DN is so interesting of a character, man. Like we've gotten so much Tsukasa. Actually, like Tsukasa's been so good in basically everything that isn't his own damn show. Like in his show, he's okay, but like everything after Decade, he's been so good. Like in Zio, he's fucking great. Um, but the end is always amazing. So this is gonna be super fun because like the end fucking with timejackers or just doing timey wimey shit is so much fun to.
Ooh. So, we should wrap this up. Final thoughts. This is possibly the best episode in all of Kamen Rider Zi-O, and while I expect to see quality episodes going forward, especially next week with Blade, uh, the the amount of like just how good this was will be hard to top. Uh, so I'm excited to see where this series goes and takes its potential.
Agreed. This was a really, really good episode. Um, more episodes just as good in the future.
Oh shit! I just realized that like next episode is Blade, right?
Yeah.
And we just got Waz and Gates living together, so basically the enemy. And like, oh look, your enemy is now your
Oh
friend,
look,
kind of thing. Is like,
Kazuma and
uh,
Hajime.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right?
the
So perfect.
like the
Ah,
most famous enemies that became friends.
yep. It's gonna be so good. Like, okay, this episode's really solid. Like, the show doesn't need to be this insanely good, but if it like keeps somewhere around this level or at least this arc's level of quality, like Zio is going to be really solid going forward. And I actually want that because like it finally feels like okay, we've gotten most of the ride watches out of the way. um we've gotten this like freaking 3 4 sided like battle for the most part sorted. Like these are the good guys, that's the bad guys. Like there's team time jackers and team riders now. Like now we can actually go full on the insanity that is our plot. Like hopefully it stays solid because like every time the show actually focuses on its own plot, it's really good. Um, and it seems like that. Yeah, it seems like there's going to be a couple more crossovers. Hopefully they're also quality. But yeah, man, we're almost like what 28. So like we're definitely past halfway. We're almost to two
Yeah.
thirds of the way through the show by now.
Uh,
And
we
like honestly, after the first couple, like I was not expecting it to get this good. But holy shit, this arc was so good.
sorry. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Uh, We'll be back tomorrow. It seems like we're going to be doing a special podcast for the Kamen Rider Build movie Be the One. And then back to our regular schedule next week. See you next time.
I
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.